by his friend. And by his friend, I mean the friend he has acknowledged publicly and that we all know to be his friend. Everybody have their friends. I'm sure even Lucifer has a friend. Even Jesus, I'm sure if Lucifer repents, Jesus will take him back. So, Prof has every right to his friends, but he does not have any right to his own truth. The truths are clear. The Labour Party clearly won this election. By whatever margin, I do not know, because INEC has made it impossible for anybody to know. So when Prof says the Labour Party came third, I beg to differ and say that Prof had been lied to and he has repeated a lie. The second thing that the venerable Prof said was that we hijacked the labor movement. Nigerian labor movement is useless, completely useless. If it wasn't useless, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in. When the Labour Party was useful, Tinubu used it. All of them used it until it has become useless, lost all credibility with the Nigerian people. The NLC cannot even call an effective strike in Nigeria because it has lost all credibility. So what labor movement was hijacked? If Prof must know, let me tell you the story of the obedient movement. The obedient movement is a coalition of the disadvantaged, the long silenced, those whose voice had been taken away from them for a long time. It was many years in the making. He had nothing to do with Peter Obi himself. Peter Obi is merely the beneficiary of a moment in time. That he was prepared to take advantage of that moment in time just happens to be something that you have to ask God why. The reality is that the Nigerian people are tired. We have tired considerably of this oppressive system that has held all of us bound. People like Wole Soyinka worked for years to reawaken the consciousness of the people with his revolutionary movement. People like Yemi Adamolekun, people like Falls, people like Macaroni, people like Rino, they were working for years. They were not working for a Peter Obi. Everybody was working to throw off this oppressive yoke. We were busy begging people to go and register to vote, reconnecting them to the struggle to free their own selves. That is the movement that took Peter Obi and adopted it as his own, with barring the exception of, in all honesty, just the revolutionary movement they were the only ones who did not come on board that coalition. So there is nothing different between the obedient movement and the old Nadeco, of which the Prof himself, the monster in Aso Rock today, were integral parts. There was a moment in history and the people banded together in spite of their differences. I am not a member of the Labour Party. I've said so multiple times in the open. I am not a member of the Labour Party. I am a member of Afenifere. He happens to be supporting Peter Obi, who I happen to support as well. So when you talk about hijacking the labor movement, there is no labor movement to hijack. And the Labour Party was always there, a vehicle for political office, taken and used by multiple persons over the years. No party in Nigeria, barring the exception of the AAC, is rooted in ideology. So at the end of the day, you had a situation where Peter Obi, who had caught the imagination of the people because of his own service, his record in office, which is very unusual in this climate. The fact that he is eminently qualified, head and shoulder above the monkeys that he was competing against, made it easy for all of us to gravitate towards him. But you know what made it even easier? The NSAS. Protests had proven to be futile. The youth were protesting over a narrow single issue of police brutality, which is merely one of the many madnesses that Nigeria presents. And you murdered them in cold blood. Yeah, murdered them in cold blood. That is fascism. Denied the murder. That is fascism. A judicial panel of inquiry comprising of 9 persons unanimously agreed there was a massacre. That is fascism. Government denied it. Orojide, he denied it, and he's still denying it. That is fascism. How many people declared this to be fascism? They even buried the denied bodies at profit. Somebody made money off the misery of people who have been refused the ability to grieve and have closure by giving them their bodies. That is fascism, instated as state policy. No pastor spoke, very few. Sorry, people like Pastor Ayedobon, that would be very wrong of me. Not only did you speak, you lent us your platform. But I didn't hear too many critical voices coming out to declare that to be fascism, demanding justice for the dead, for the injured, people the state was busy paying under the table so that it might continue to deny what it did. That is fascism. Those are the aggrieved, the people in the Middle Belt who have been brutalized by years of Buhari's evil. The people in Adam, all across the length and breadth of Nigeria, Nasarawa, Plateau, Benue, across the east where the man Sterling record stood for him, in the west where he won handsomely in Lagos, and you call that a region. Look, what became the obedient movement and what is the obedient movement today is a coalition of Nigerians injured, they are aggrieved, they pained. Those who want to be freed of the shackles of Nigeria. We are the ones we are calling the obedient movement. We are not fascists. We are aggrieved, pained, marginalized. The South-South, the Southeast, and the Southwest is political leadership met, came together, agreed, and that was before reach out to other zones. So how could this party that enjoyed the blessing of 4 out of 6 zones in Nigeria be said to be a regional party? That's a fact-challenged claim. Prof has been fed lies by his friends, and he has repeated those lies, unfortunately. So, the fourth of the claims, retired generals seeking to foment trouble are the ones that have taken over. Let's be clear about something. I remember all through the campaign, every time the subject of General Olusegun Obasanjo's support for Peter Obi came up in my space, anywhere I was, I made it clear that General Obasanjo has his right to support whoever he cares to support. I am one of the frontline supporters of Peter Obi, at least in the Southwest, if you wish to reduce me to the absurd. I never attended a single meeting with Obasanjo in attendance. That was how much, and that is how much I take exception to his person, and I will not sit in a meeting with him. I don't know what influence Prof believed Dele General had or has on the obedient movement, but let's be very, very clear. Unless there is a coincidence of interest and nothing else, we work with absolutely none of those who are ruining this country. And in relation to General Obasanjo himself, I'm on record as having said multiple times that if it comes to having a head-on confrontation with the principal, Mr. Gregory Peter Obi, in relation to accountability for all those who have ruined Nigeria, I will take him on the street to make sure that these people are account. So I don't know exactly where that mischievous lie that was told to Prof came from. Obasanjo can be as obnoxious as he cares to be. He can be ordering people to stand up, sit down, and they too can be standing up and sitting down like the government appointees that they are. They can joke about that all they care between themselves. They are both well in their 80s, if not their 90s. This is our own life. No general is involved in our pain. A general might be looking for redemption and then latch on to our movement or our quest for liberation in an attempt to whitewash his own history, or perhaps in an attempt to pay his debt to history. Whatever his own reasons might be, it should not be used to bang us on the head. General Obasanjo is a subject of Nigeria, a country without citizenship. So yeah, he has the right to support whoever he cares. I don't know any other general that the referred prof might have been lied to, might have been lied to about whatever the Igbo is. Key thing is, no general anywhere except you, the everyday members. Okay, we have General Lucci, and I'm sure we have a few other generals. Oh yes, and then there is Baba Dilo. So at the end of the day, we are not a party of generals. We are a movement comprised of people who feel the pain of Nigeria and who have come together looking to take the yoke off their necks. But there is something Prof said that it is critical that we call him out and ask him to offer proof of this. Prof implied, maybe my deductions might be wrong, but I seem to hear him imply that the organization that he co-founded, the Pirate Confraternity, has proof of the fact that Peter Obi came third. I might be wrong, maybe I heard wrong, I stand to be corrected. But if this is so, I think the Pirate Confraternity holds Nigerians a duty to release what he has, the proof of the fact that Peter Obi came third, if it has any such proof. It would help, because that is a pretty credible organization. The Pirate Confraternity is a credible organization, and if it indeed has proof, it should help us, because there is already a line drawn in the sand. No amount of revisionism is going to distort the truth. Peter Obi won this election. Everybody who might presume to explain or to normalize or in any way lend credence to the lie that is a Tinubu presidency would unfortunately find themselves benuded, for the simple reason that it has pleased God. And I declare this with absolute certainty and faith. It has pleased God to benude the lie that is Nigeria and to benude the lie that is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And everyone who presumes to cloak him shall themselves benude themselves. It wouldn't be because anybody did anything. And I urge each and every one of us, please, Prof has earned the right to a peaceful time in his old age. Yes, we might disagree with him, and yes, I do disagree with him, but let's also remain respectful. This is particularly important because we must focus on the issues so that these matters are not personalized. Let us deal with the facts and the issues. Every man is entitled to their opinion. Even gods are entitled to their opinions, but nobody is entitled to their own truth. It is not true that Labour Party came third. That is a lie. It is not true that the obedient movement hijacked the Labour movement. There is no such thing. That is an absolute verifiable lie. It is not true that the Labour Party is a regional party. That is a blatant lie. It is not true that retired generals are looking to use the obedient movement to foment trouble. The reality of the matter is that the obedient movement has been the most peaceful political movement in the history of Nigeria. Prof at 26 was busy telling the story of Nigeria. Prof, in his early 30s, was pulling a gun on a TV, on a radio presenter in order to push his own point across. He was a child of his circumstances. The government of the day might have called him fascist, but the people knew better, and nobody deemed him one. We celebrated him as a hero when we were reading about it in later years.
Okay, I believe you understand better. You can drop your thoughts on the comment section. Another thing is this: there are some things Dele Farotimi said on that video that I do not agree with anyway. And from the video, I will drop another video. I will be talking about the things that Dele Farotimi said that I do not agree with. And there is something I noticed on that interview. I've not heard anybody mention it on the social media. I've not heard anything about it, but I equally speak on it on the next video I'll be dropping. So do well to follow my page and subscribe, so you will get to see that video, and then you will hear what I have to say from my own point of view, what I observed and what I learned from the video. All right, see you on my next video.